This is Derek with Cozy Inc., and we're going to be providing you with a quick update on our project. What we're going to go over today is the Lean Canvas and the overall framework of our business plan that we think is going to allow the product to become successful. After that, we're going to be going over the project status update that we provided you with during our last project review. We're going to give you an update about where we are, what we've completed, and what we hope to complete in the future. From there, we're going to go a little bit more in depth and talk about the risk assessment in terms of both the product viability and the assignment for this class. From there, we're going to give you an update about the customer market and what we've learned and what our steps moving into the future will be. So in terms of the canvas, the product's overall purpose has remained the same. The problem, which is a little bit derived from dealing with the cold weather, is that the current solutions for heating homes and maintaining the temperature of homes are either inefficient, expensive, or both. Our market research that we did earlier in the year confirmed that dealing with cold in the wintertime was the #1 challenge for people. Some of the solutions that people offered, things like bundling up and wearing jackets inside or putting space heaters in multiple rooms, those led to another issue of problems. They're either uncomfortable, burdensome. If you have guests, they might not necessarily have enough blankets and probably not lending out jackets to keep everyone warm. Other things that we noticed were really high heating costs. And our solution, the product that we came up with, it's designed to address that by making sure that the money that people are spent heating their home is actually used efficiently. So what we've done is we created an insulated air dampener that reduces heat loss through the kitchen exhaust fans. Now, to transition that, the value proposition that we're going to be offering our consumers is that it's going to reduce the cost of heating a home or apartment. You lose heat through both the heat transfer, and you also lose it by having a drafty hole in your kitchen that's open 24 hours a day. Additionally, by not having to spend as much energy heating your home, you're going to be leaving less of a footprint when you actually do use your heating bill. So it offers a greener solution for home and apartment heating as well. And one of the things that we did notice, and the unfair advantage that we have, is that we didn't see any comparable products on the market. We didn't notice that there were any insulated air dampeners, let alone automatic with a signal light as well. So while we would need to talk to a patent lawyer to really shore up this advantage, this is something that we see that can really give us a corner in the market. If we're able to successfully patent the product, that could end up being the cornerstone to profitability. Now, what we're looking at for customer segments, our original model changed from a easily adaptable product that people can take on and off themselves to one that's going to be fully integrated with the kitchen fan. And because some of the manufacturers that produce these products have huge scales and are going to be able to out-manufacture us, what we would like to do is patent the technology and license it to the current manufacturers. So to get to those customers, what we're going to be doing is looking at home trade shows and construction trade shows, as well as contacting these companies directly to pitch our products. What we want to do is show them the validity of the product, show them the results of the testings that we're doing with the prototype, and show them that it works. From there, once we can prove that this is something that the consumers will actually want, we want to turn those manufacturers into customers. Now, in terms of determining how the company is coming along and what metrics we're going to be looking at, we realistically wouldn't be looking at sales for several months. So what we want to do is get positive results from the simulations and the tests that we're going to be running on our prototype. If a product doesn't work, it's not going to be viable, and that's one of the bottom lines. So we have to make sure that the product that we're offering is actually in line with what people want and an efficient way of addressing the problem. We also want to make sure that this is something that customers actually want, especially if we're going to be trying to market the product as a greener solution for home insulation and home heating. We want to make sure that this is something that people will actually value and people will actually be willing to open up their wallets for and spend a little bit more money on. Now, in terms of the major costs that we're going to have, the legal expenses would directly be going towards a patent lawyer to figure out the viability of a patent, whether it's something we can do, and then as well as potential legal defense for challenges to that patent. We do have some costs in terms of manufacturing the prototype. Those are still going to be generally dependent upon what our final product looks like. Since it's still in development, it's really tough to give a realistic answer or an accurate representation of those costs. And then the trade shows, entrances, setup, and marketing material, those will provide one of the more significant costs. Marketing the product is going to be expensive. It's anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000 to get an exhibit at one of these trade shows. And the revenue streams would be come from licensing this technology out to these manufacturers. Now, in terms of where we are with our product, we're still developing the final prototype. Alex has been working with CAD on a couple of different prototypes, and we're hoping to run some simulations so that we can try to determine how effective it will be. Once that prototype is complete, what we're hoping to do is also spend some of our $500 budget to get some B2B marketing research done, which we'll touch on a little bit later. Now, there are a couple of risks that present challenges to our team in terms of both completing the school assignment and in terms of the product being actual viable. What we did develop are 3 of the top risks, which are alternative or substitute solutions that are introduced to the market. These would potentially have a very big impact on the viability of our product. While we didn't see any direct competitors during our research, this could change in the future. Additionally, changing schedules among our group members and life circumstances are making it more challenging to get work done in the way that we originally planned on. This is something that we've talked about as a group, and it's just one of those realistic things that is going to happen as we all get closer to graduation and different opportunities present themselves. Another threat that we see is also that the product just might not seem viable to go to the market. At the end of the day, this is a concept that we developed over several weeks out of a 7-day brainstorming session. So there is a possibility that this might not be something that is truly marketable, and we've taken steps about what we're going to do if we do see that as the case. Additionally, there's always the possibility that the prototypes just don't pass the testing and the standards that we wanted to meet. Also, it could be that the customer demand is insufficient. Even if they like the idea of the product, they may not be willing to spend more money on it. The technology, if there are patents existing and there are challenges to the patents that we didn't discover, that would be a big step back for our company. There's also the chance that manufacturing the product is actually prohibitively expensive. If we're trying to save people $1 or $2 on their heating bills each month, the goal is to make it so that the customers will realize net revenue coming in by saving money on their heating bill, so that would offset the cost of the product, but we still have to determine if that's something that can realistically be achieved. Additionally, we are going to need money for marketing and prototyping, developing the prototype. There's always the chance that there's a change in home regulation that makes the product invalid, and there's also the possibility that internally we just can't agree on a revenue plan or on a marketing plan and business plan moving forward. Now, we tried to assign what we saw as the big risks, and we assigned this to a risk cube. There are some things that, while they would be very impactful, like regulations changing in the home, they just didn't seem very realistic, which is representative down here. And as you can see, most of the significant ones that were listed first fall within the yellow and the red zones. But we have some contingency plans for these risks. If an alternative or substitute good is introduced to the market, we want to be able to beat that good on something. Now, it's difficult to come up with a specific because we don't actually know what this would be, but we identified 3 main areas that we would like to beat this product on: either price, effectiveness, or convenience. If we can find a way to make this product cheaper, if we can find a way to make it more effective at insulating heat, or if we can find a way to break it and make it more convenient so that people don't need to purchase entirely new kitchen fans. And in terms of changing life schedules and circumstances, if it cuts to the point where our group is having significant difficulties in finding any time that we can actually meet, what we're going to be doing is assigning a leader who's going to be delegating specific tasks. Those tasks will be completed 4 days prior to any deliverables, and then we will be delegating roles and responsibilities about actually collecting all of those tasks and creating the deliverables. And now, if the product is deemed not viable, we all signed up for this class not necessarily to create a successful product, but to get a learning experience by going through the steps. So even if this is something that we don't think realistically can be profitable in the market, we're going to continue with our best foot forward as if it is profitable so that we can get the most out of this class in terms of a learning experience. Now, some of the things we learned about our market is drastically different than business to consumer. It's also much more difficult and time-consuming to carry out market research. So what we're going to be hoping to do is planning on a specific way to allocate some of our $500 budget to outsource some of this market research so that we'll be able to get some more concrete evidence about the viability of a business-to-business market in the next couple of weeks. Thank you.